All right, welcome back. You're watching NewsX. My name is Vineet. Delhi woke up to very poor air quality a day after the Commission for Air Quality Management revoked the restrictions under Stage 3 of the Graded Response Action Plan in Delhi NCR. The overall AQI of the city at 8 a.m. stood at 351. Major areas in the national capital recorded an AQI above 300, including in Burari, Anand Vihar, Chandni Chowk, ITO, Jahangirpuri and other areas. The problem is profoundly complex and its impact is ubiquitous, affecting individuals across all demographics, from school-going children to the elderly. To secure our future, we are seeking tangible solutions, and one of the most promising is the integration of electric vehicles into the Indian market. But what does the math look like is the big question. Let's put out those numbers for you and analyze what can be done. I'm going to go over to the big screen and try and make sense of what we have so far and what these numbers necessarily entail. The EV cab math is what we're going to look at this point in time. The total cabs in Delhi at this point in time are 1,12,000. How many EV cabs out of the 1,12,000 are plying on the roads? It's approximately around 25,000, give or take 10 to 20. What is the percentage of these EV cabs out of the 1,12,000? Well, it's not bad. It's at 22.32%. But can we do better for the sake of our lungs and the air that we breathe? Of course, the answer is yes. The charging infra math. How many charging points are made? 2,454. How many will be made in the next few years? Mr. Gadkari has also spoken about this on a number of occasions. 22,100 on a ratio of one station for 15 vehicles. This is still a far cry from what we have right now, but it's a good aspiration to have. The charging infra math, how many we should make? Delhi's target for cars by 2025 is 3,995.9 million is what it stands at. By ratio of 1:50, 79,180 charging points is what is needed to in fact fuel and charge all these cars. Delhi's target for buses, 8,000 by 2025. If one charging station for 3 buses, then you need 260 plus charging points at this point in time. Total approximately 80,000 charging points is what is needed. It's a number which is of course exponentially higher than what we see today. The EV bus, of course, how much will 8,000 EV buses cost to the exchequer? Well, the cost of one EV bus, folks, is somewhere close to 2.20 crores. That is a chunk of change. Cost of 8,000 EV buses, of course, you can do the math. You can multiply 8,000 into 2.20, and of course, the cost is going to go up to thousands of crores, but it is required. It comes out to be 17,600 crores, about a couple of $1 billion is what is needed to revamp this infrastructure of mobility in our cities. The EV bus, the power consumption of 8,000 buses for one charge is 240 units. To charge 8,000 EV buses, you need approximately 19,20,000 units is what is needed. So this is basically a template, a target that the government needs to keep in mind. And the power consumption of 8,000 buses, Delhi's daily consumption is at 82,000 kilowatts, and the percentage of consumption by 8,000 buses is 2.32% of the daily consumption of the electricity that is used at this point in time, which is not much. It can be in fact amplified, it can be worked upon. So is this the solution that the government needs to entail? Are they aware of these numbers, and is there a blockage or an impediment that is foreseeable that could stop this kind of a novel rollout to basically save the lives of people who are living and breathing in some of the most polluted cities in northern India? We'll talk about this with our guest. Joining us on the show at this point in time is Dr. Sharath Kohli, senior economist. Mr. Tutu Dhawan, auto analyst, also joins us on the program. Kunal Gupta, CEO and co-founder of E-Motorrad, is with us. Mr. Abhijit Sinha, program director for National Highways, is also with us on the program. Mr. Benny Parehar, founder and managing director of Averta, is also joining us on the program to give his perspective and point of view. So we have a loaded panel, a lot of expertise on what EV can do and what kind of difference it can make. Dr. Kohli, I'll begin with you to set the course of this debate. Well, you know, I just put out the math for you. This is a very doable thing, a couple of $1 billion to save the lives of people in North India, specifically the capital of a Viksit Bharat in 2047, Dr. Kohli, doesn't seem too much to me. Dr. Kohli?
Well, good evening, Vineet, to you, my fellow panelists in NewsX. Good evening. Vineet, can you hear me?
I can hear you, sir.
Yeah. Vineet, yesterday on your channel, we were talking about Parali, and I'm so glad NewsX is running this series to save our lives. We were talking of Parali, 10,000 crores involved in making some machines and so on and so forth. In Delhi NCR, 7 to 10 years is the life expectancy we are losing simply by breathing this air. I've never smoked in my life. 20 to 50 cigarettes is what I'm unknowingly smoking simply by breathing in this dirty air. And I think all you need is political will. As far as EVs are concerned, three issues: charging infrastructure, the cost of vehicles, and the range at which they drive. These are the three primary issues with EVs. And what I fail to understand is, why can't government spend? We're talking of Viksit Bharat 2047. We may not even live till then. Well, not because we are old enough, but we may not live because of the dirty air that we are inhaling every day. So what will we do with Viksit Bharat? It is for the next generation. But the next generation itself, the young children, they are also breathing this dirty air. And you knock off 7 to 10 years from their lives, and I think that is when the importance of EV is felt. We are trying to restrict BS3, BS4. What rubbish is that, Vineet? I'm telling you, because it has made no difference on Delhi's air. You are trying to stop the vehicles. You are trying to find the vehicles. Some people are busy making money on the road. I'm sorry to say this, in the garb of pollution. But has it made any difference? The answer is no. If pollution has come down over the last 2 days, it is because there was a wind flowing in the direction which took away some of the PM 2.5, not because BS3 or BS4 or whatever vehicles were off the road. I think somebody has to understand that GRAP 3, this GRAP is a nonsense if you ask me. I'm sorry to say that, because it is not helping the cause. The problem has to be hit at the root. And imagine a situation, Vineet, where all the vehicles in Delhi, all of vehicles in Delhi are electric. Don't you think this will make a difference? It will make a difference. But what you need is, you need a charging infrastructure every couple of kilometers. Any colony which has more than 10 EVs, go and do a complimentary installation of charging infrastructure. Go to people's house. Right now, EV is your second car. I think I would consider EV as a success when EV becomes your first and only car. Go and ask the people, they will tell you, we cannot solely survive on EV because we run out of charging. We don't know where to charge. We can't make long distance travel. The cost of EV, any standard SUV of EV is 25 lakhs plus. Why can't you bring down the cost? Why can't you have battery infrastructure? I feel there is a lack of political will, because you are addressing the problem. What you are trying to do is, you are looking at your face in the mirror, which is loaded with dust. What you are doing is, you are trying to wipe off your face, go and wash your face. If you remove the dust out of the mirror, you will be able to see yourself clearly, but you keep going to the wash basin and washing your face. That is the kind of solution which is being offered right now. I'm very sorry to say, all of us, I don't know who all are in Delhi. You and me are in Delhi, I know that. If I was to live for 70 years, Vineet, I'm only going to live for 60 years, because this dirty air for me and you is going to kill us eventually, because we are smoking unknowingly. And I'm very, very sorry to say what I said, Vineet.
No, you don't have to be, Dr. Kohli. Mr. Dhawan, this is perhaps the only solution that is coming to mind right now, because, Parali has a role to play on this, but definitely experts have also weighed in that Parali is not the only reason why Delhi gets to see, this kind of a pollution, which is extremely detrimental to the health of the people living in this part of the country. But at the same time, how can the government expedite, this prudent measure of electrifying our lives with EVs, so that, more people don't have to be concerned about this, more people don't have to protest at India Gate?
Vineet, I think I do agree mostly with what Dr. Kohli has said, but I also want to tell you that this problem starts only in the last 2 months. And we have the same situation. We have construction, we have same number of cars, we have same number of two-wheelers, and we have everything else other than the parali throughout the year. And we are reasonably happy. I wouldn't say we are all hunky-dory, but yes, we are reasonably happy. Why can't we find a reasonable solution to this problem? We are scientists, we are, all sorts of research and development that has been done and will be done. Why can't we find a solution to this? This is not only an EV which is going to create the solution to this. There is bigger problems to it. And unless those bigger problems are caught at the root level, we will still keep on blaming each other. Even if you have EVs, you replace all the cars with EVs. Firstly, of course, you don't have charging points. Secondly, even they will be producing dust. They will also kick up the same amount of dust that other vehicles kick up, and the construction activities and so on and so. But unless we have a scientific approach to find the problem from the root, we will keep on doing this blame game, which has been happening now for the last 10, 15 years. So I think there has to be some rationality to all this, rather than, we keep on giving gyan to everybody and nobody is listening.
All right, Kunal Gupta, what are your thoughts on the prevailing circumstances, both from a policy point of view and, from the on-ground reality point of view? They obviously, there is a big mismatch and we are suffering.
Absolutely. I think the whole population is suffering because of this pollution scenes, right? But there are multiple layers to why this is happening, right? I don't think EV is the only solution, but EV contributes to a lot of what can be changed here, right? I think the latest data of Ministry of Earth Sciences clearly says that 35 to 40% pollution is happening because of the transport. And that is what we need to really solve for first, right? And there are subsequent problems to be solved. I think construction dust is the second bigger problem, which we can be subsequently solved or parallelly solved. When we talk about EV, usually from my view, we only look at cars and buses. I think we really need to solve EVs and transport at micro mobility level, because that is the larger quantum of how people usually commute, right? Micro mobility is the main solve, and that is where we need to get to. We need to really have stable policies across two-wheelers, electric cycles, so that we promote local form of commute, promote short-term commute, and that is what really solves. I think this is how from Beijing to Bangkok, everyone has solved for last mile commute, and that is what has impacted to the real pollution solve.
Okay, fair enough. Mr. Abhijit Sinha, Delhi, of course, is a city which has found a lot of modernization over the last few decades. But at the same time, the state of the roads, the cleanliness, and even the length of the roads is not equivalent, or rather has not kept pace with the kind of advancements that we have seen in terms of vehicular pollution. What needs to be done in that mode, plus apart from the EV culture that policymakers as well as the public at large needs to adopt?
Thank you, and I appreciate that NewsX is taking it forward as a continued debate, as it requires a certain degree of reporting to ensure that it is progressing in the right direction or not. It is not only about the intent of government. I completely agree with our previous panelist, Dr. Kohli, that Grab was just a face-saving exercise of previous government. But what I don't agree is that this government has lack of intent. Intent is there. Content is something which will come. Enforcement, policy, technology, infrastructure, and more of administrative. So if I completely compartmentalize these things into four departments or four buckets, then enforcement is something where we have been lacking. Technology is something where Ministry of Road Transport has been given a very strong instruction to look into the technology and also the R&D of vehicle, how these BS4, BS5 and this can happen. Fourth is implementation and enforcement. Here, I think Delhi, Haryana, Rajasthan, Punjab, and UP. Delhi NCR is not only one state, or it does not get it around 2.97 crore vehicles we have. 1.57 crore are in Delhi. Rest 37% old vehicle are still running on the old standards. So we cannot, implement something very significant. Despite of having an intent content, it will not give impact until and unless all three, four states will come together. And I'm happy that government has started talking about it. A high-level task force between Delhi, Rajasthan, Haryana, Punjab, UP, chief secretary plus 8 central departments has been decided, and they will look into the two-wheeler, three-wheeler, car, bus. Truck was one of the very important component because truck count only 3%, but they produce 30% of pollution, and in PM 2.5 they are responsible for 50% of national pollution. This year, Government of India has also incentivized electric trucks so that we can look into those areas also. Last but not least, infrastructure. As we move forward, we need to change the mindset that every person may be able to buy an electric vehicle, maybe not be able to buy an electric vehicle, but every person can use an electric vehicle. And it will only be possible when we will have sufficient infrastructure to give a confidence to fleet operator to introduce huge amount of fleet to counter diesel and petrol vehicle. Every person can use them, and that is going to bring impact. In all sequences, I look at it at this, that previous government was not so cordial with corresponding states, which is now a good sign. I'm happy that the conversation is going in right direction, and these kind of conversation and debates which NewsX is organizing would also give you some impact signal. But I don't see this year we will be able to do something much, but next year there would be definitely an impact.
Mr. Benny Parihar, your point of view on this predicament that we are supposed to live through every year, and the fact of the matter is that previous governments or this government, it's not going to come down to a government blame game, because obviously there are a multitude of factors that come to haunt Delhi NCR and northern India in the last 2 months of any year. It was not like this. I was growing up in Delhi. The air is still the same. Delhi has not moved on its axis. The wind condition and the pollution getting trapped because of cloudy weather is also something which has not changed. It's only the man-made factors which need to be undone. What is your perspective here?
First of all, thank you for having me, and thank you for the rest of the panelists to also bring light to this. I think before we even dive into what needs to be done, I think the reality is that things are improving. I mean, we do see that from an EV standpoint, we're seeing the sales of EV growing. We're seeing charging infrastructure also growing to the numbers that you mentioned earlier, to around 30,000 in India, and let's say 3,000 in Delhi. But this is still just like a drop in the bucket. Yeah. I mean, what we can really do to be able to see how we can solve this problem is learn from other, let's say, polluted cities which address the problem, right? So maybe looking at Shenzhen as a city that really sort of cleaned up its whole environment very quickly. And it's a mixture of a few things. It's a mixture of obviously policy, as the private sector and the auto OEMs and the discoms all coming together, and then really making a sort of dent into it. I mean, just to give you an idea, from the disparity of where we currently are, China has 3 million public chargers. Europe has 1 million public chargers. And that's still, that the ratio you spoke about earlier for vehicle to charger is, we're still a long, long way away. So from that standpoint, there are problems on the ground as well, right? I'm looking at it from a charging manufacturer standpoint, and we're able to produce really high quality made in India products. But now what happens is the charge point operators or the oil and gas companies, ideally who need to deploy these chargers, are having issues with power infrastructure being brought in. The government addresses it. There's a PME sort of policy and subsidy that has come out, which is giving around 2,400 crore, two chargers, 72,000 chargers to be installed over a certain number of years. But the issue really becomes is that there is no power lines right now. So the private sector, whoever is in charge of putting those chargers up, needs to make those investments, and then the government will come and subsidize or rebate them. So it is a little bit of a chicken egg problem currently with charging infrastructure. But from at least from my perspective, it's moving in the right direction where now the consumers have more choices from a vehicle standpoint. We have automakers making cars, EVs, a little bit more, let's say, economical as well. And slowly but surely, we are going to be able to have more, let's say, less range anxiety coming in from that standpoint.
Fair enough. Well, we've run out of time, but I appreciate everybody who joined in and weighed in. All your thoughts and perspectives have been extremely instrumental in defining this conversation, which is also perhaps going to define how we deal with pollution and how we adopt and embrace the electronic culture. We'll take a short break now. Be right back.